show you really quickly how to do a circle polyorama, uh, just so you have some kind of visual representation of how you might do this. So I've got the instructions pulled up here, which I encourage you guys to do as you go through with this. But yeah, so the first thing you're going to need is a 360-degree panorama. You don't need to do this on your phone using the panorama tool. I actually would like you to do it with just still photos. So I went out and did that. I recommend getting a tripod and just kind of being very judicious about it and giving yourself a lot of overlap between photos so that the program can find the commonalities between your images when it tries to stitch them together. So you'll see here I have a folder with all these images in it that I just went out and took this morning. I do apologize. I'm doing this very quickly this morning so I can give you some instruction. So it's not going to be the most attractive looking image by the end, but it will at least show you how to make it work. So you can see here like that I've got a lot of overlap between the images as I kind of cycle around 360 degrees. Okay, so that's about 360 degrees. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use Photoshop's built-in panorama stitcher. So what we're going to do is open up Photoshop. So here I go, Photoshop. Okay, and if I come up here to File, I can come down to Automate. And there's a thing here called Photo Merge, which I'm going to choose. So here's the photo merge options. Okay, and what I'm going to do is make sure it's on Auto. And then I'm going to choose Browse. And I'm going to find all the photos that I just showed you. They're on my desktop in a folder I call Photo or Polyoramas. I'm going to select all of the images that I've taken and say Open. And it will list them here for me. So there's all my images. I recommend you have about this many, if not more. You don't want to go too crazy because then it will really take a long time for it to try to process all of this. Okay, you want to do blend images together, and you also want to check geometric distortion correction. Okay, and then you're going to say okay. Now it's going to take a few minutes depending on how good of a job you did with your photos and how many photos you took. So it's basically going to start looking through all of the things that you did and find similarities between the images so that it can kind of stitch them together and turn it into a 360 panorama. So we're going to give it a minute here and let it do its thing. When we're done, it's going to give us a ton of different layers for each image, and create a new canvas for us with them all arranged on it. And then we want to merge all of those layers into one layer. I know on the instructions I gave you it says you don't have to merge them, but I'm correcting that. You do have to merge them. So please make sure that you merge them. I will show you here in this video how to do that. Just the minute that this gets done processing. Again, this can take some time, but this one wasn't so bad. Now it's blending the layers together. Creating seamless composition. And there you go. I've got my 360 panorama here. Looks pretty good. All right. Now you'll see that like it kind of is curved a little bit just because like I didn't use a tripod. So this is not the perfect version of this. But if you take your time and really use a tripod, you can get a really nice and straight panorama for yourself. Using a bunch of different photos instead of using the one from the iPhone. which you can use as well, but I've had a lot of success just kind of doing it this way, taking a lot of different photos. Now, I will note the photos that I took are vertical, not horizontal. I do recommend that you do vertical with a lot of overlap. Okay. Now, the next step that I have to do is merge all those layers. So I'm going to go to my layers panel, and you'll see there's all the layers right there. I have them all selected automatically. I'm just going to right click on them and say merge layers, and it'll merge them all into one nice layer for me here. Okay. The next thing we need to do is kind of get rid of all the transparency. So you guys know that transparency in Photoshop is always like this kind of checkered box pattern. So we're going to need to get rid of that if we want this to work. So we're going to click on the crop tool right here, which is going to give us our nice handles. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of eyeball it right now and try to bring it in as close as we can to not have any of that transparency. So I'm actually going to zoom in and take a look over here and bring in the edge there. All right, looking pretty good. This one I can bring in. Then I want to make sure that I'm only getting 360 degrees. I don't want to get more. So what I need to do is look at each end and find a commonality between them that I can use. So you'll see I have a little bit of this window kind of coming in over here, and that's the same window as this one over here. I probably should have gone a little more than 360 degrees so that I had more to kind of play with, but I'm going to bring this in so that it matches across the edit. And then I'm going to let it crop and take one more look at it. Looks pretty good. There's a little bit of transparency over here that I probably want to get rid of. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. So let me crop that one in just a hair. Oh, it's really small, so I'm going to get really close in there. Okay, it did not like me doing that. What happened? There we go. It's so small that probably wouldn't really have meant much, but might as well get it perfect, right? Okay, there we go. Great. So there's my 360 panorama. Okay. So now what we need to do is we're going to basically like try to turn this into the polyorama, meaning we're going to kind of wrap it around a point. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up to our image controls and go down to image size. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy the height and put it into the width. Okay. And it's going to basically turn it into a square, and it's going to look like garbage. I mean, look at this. This looks like garbage. Okay. But that's actually what we want, because what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate this 180 degrees. We're going to go back to image. We're going to flip it upside down. So image, rotation, 180 degrees. That flips it upside down. Okay. So now we have a terrible upside down image, but here comes the magic. Okay. We're going to come up here to filters, and we're going to come down here to distort, and we're going to choose polar coordinates. And then we want to make sure rectangular to polar is selected. Okay. And when we click OK, it's suddenly going to wrap everything around the edges there. Now mine looks like garbage because I just did it in like outside my apartment. But hopefully you guys can do some playing around with this with some nice landscapes. And you'll get some really cool looking things that look like planets, right? Polyoramas should look a little bit, it likes panoramas. I don't want panoramas, I want polyoramas. Okay, good. They should look like little mini planets. So let's find a good one here. This one doesn't look great. Man, the Google image search does not like polyoramas, but you could get cool things like this if you do it at a monument. The key thing is having the top of the image be the sky. As you can see, mine doesn't have that. But if you play around with it enough, you should be able to create something pretty cool or really weird too. Here's how to create a tiny planet. Okay, yeah, okay, something like this. But really, you guys just play around with it and see what you can come up with. And that's a little bit about polyoramas. Hopefully my thing helps you out.